She really did say that.
Yeah, she really did say that after she just got done coffee and then laughed about it.
We came, we saw, he died.
We came, we saw, he died. The fact that any human being would ever do that. By the way he died, that's theory.
I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they would take something that supported a Hillary Clinton campaign point and they would overemphasize it and exaggerate it. But anything that actually contradicted that narrative and they buried it deep, and through that, they actually laundered Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points through the...
Joe Rogan and J.D. Vance not only challenged Hillary Clinton, but also meticulously and mercilessly dismantled her political front. They relentlessly attacked her, destroying her scandals, mocking her hypocrisy, and tearing apart the polished image she had spent decades preserving. This was no joking comment. The vicious takedown exposed a career motivated more by survival than service, leaving Clinton's reputation shattered, exposed, and suffering from the weight of unfiltered truth she could no longer resist.
Yeah, Jamie, pull that video up.
I think we gotta have tough conditions. Tell them to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. Questions asked, they're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. You have to try to learn English. And you have to wait.
What do you want our intelligence community to be doing? I want them to be catching guys. I want them to be making sure that terrorists aren't going to kill innocent civilians. I don't want them laundering Hillary's campaign talking points into the American media and giving them an air of legitimacy. It is sick and it's disgusting. It hurt the intelligence community. It hurt the American people. It hurt the first Trump administration. We have got to have consequences for it.
A multitude of media comebacks, political upheavals, scandals, and reinventions have all been handled well by Hillary Clinton, the confidence of a seasoned American political queen. But Joe Rogan and J.D. Vance were not about to bow. It was not a coronation. It ruined a career built on fake smiles, trained rage, and the political equivalent of duct gluing ambition to chance.
The conversation between James Comey.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the agency to contain classified information.
When James Comey testified about what he did and what they found with the Hillary Clinton emails, and then her version of it.
I did not email any classified material to anyone. There is no classified material.
She's just a straight liar.
It was not long until Rogan exposed the myth. 4 years, the Hillary brand has thrived on a mix of self-proclaimed inevitability and elite immunity, as if the rules that applied to the rest of the country were never meant to apply to her. When talking about openness, she's the kind of person who can send private information from a server that sounds like it was installed in the rear of a yoga studio. Despite the media's efforts to envelop her in a comfortable cocoon of revisionist history, Rogan that the odor of those previous scandals still hung in the air like cigarette smoke at a low-cost motel.
I mean that Hillary would have been a good choice either. She was a terrible choice. She's a corrupt politician, one of the most unlikable people that's ever run for office. They were trying to get people to be supporting her just because she's a woman. This is going to be her history. Women, ladies, I stand with her. All these women have this blind allegiance towards this career politician, completely full of shit. She's been full of...
Then J.D. Vance took control. He did so not with the steady burn of a political analyst, but with the raw fury of a man who grew up watching snake oil pitches. She wasn't only a former First Lady and his twice-defeated presidential candidate. She embodied the unspoken rule that elites in Washington never really lose. Even if she didn't win the presidency, she still managed to get the foundations, book deals, speaking engagements, and endless cocktail parties where everyone pretends she's still significant in politics. Vance easily cut through it. When losing pays this handsomely, why should anybody care about winning?
Here we see J.D. Vance with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News Sunday.
I have to say, Maria, I laugh at the Democrats who are now all of a sudden so interested in the Epstein files. Know that Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of connections with left-wing politicians and left-wing billionaires, and now President Trump has demanded full
Rogan took the initiative to bring out that Hillary's greatest political asset could be her capacity to handle her own issues. From Benghazi to Whitewater to the Clinton Foundation's donor list, which looks like a VIP section of an international lobbying convention, she has weathered storms that would bring down most politicians. But instead of allowing any occurrence to depress her, she sees it as an opportunity to network. Rogan compared her will to survive in politics to an apex predator's. But instead of hunting animals, Vance didn't let her off the cultural front either.
She's I mean, that was a lot of people's perspectives on Hillary Clinton.
I'm sure everyone loved her. I'm pretty sure she won.
Loved.
She's
Why?
Cool. I just like who isn't?
Yeah, Bernie Sanders.
Okay, but did you vote?
He wasn't available to vote for.
Did you vote in the?
I didn't vote in the primary.
Primaries, right?
Yeah, but I had him on my podcast, and he was very sincere.
Okay, cool. I've had my mom on my podcast. You want to flip?
He made fun of Hillary's efforts to seem like a sympathetic supporter of average Americans while dressing in attire and giving speeches that probably cost more than a small-town household's yearly rent. She is as eager to appear authentic as a billionaire who hopes no one notices her Rolex while sporting a baseball hat at a barbecue. The political cosplay ticket was not being bought by Vance. The two of them surgically the hypocrite. Hillary's recurring, "I'm just like you" tactic to appeal to voters was criticized by Rogan. She's suddenly baking cookies, drinking beer, and awkwardly dancing at campaign rallies like a wedding guest who's just there for the free bar.
To try to silence him and shut him up. And then consider, yesterday, one of the chief surrogates of Kamala Harris's campaign is Hillary Clinton. What Hillary Clinton said yesterday? She said that misinformation should be with criminal penalties. That we ought to throw people in jail and silence them if they say something that Hillary...
Nonetheless, Vance focused on the generational problem she supports. You score a book deal, a documentary, and a cozy seat at the table of every policy think tank that still has the chance to consider you for re-election. According to Vance, she is proof that political failure in America is just a new kind of career move. Her 2016 campaign, which was supposed to represent the apex of her career success, came into focus. The arrogance, the complacency, and the odd strategy of campaigning as if winning the presidency was already certain were all examined by Rogan. Instead of motivating voters, it seemed to be a corporate release for a product that everyone was told they had to buy.
Massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation as a part of a propaganda campaign.
Attorney General Pam Bondi directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 investigation.
A lot of them are guilty. Yeah. A lot of the people that are in that White House press conference, a lot of the organizations they work for, distributed absolute lies.
Total lies.
Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
How many of them during the whole Russia thing?
Some people think that the Russia thing was real.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, the whole Steele dossier where it was like completely concocted.
Funded by the...
Hillary set off a grenade in her own tale of certain loss, rather than just losing when the electorate turned against her. Vance made everyone aware of the blame game that followed 2016. Instead of real reflection, Hillary's staff gave justifications like Halloween candy. It wasn't her fault. The FBI, the Russians, the media, misogyny, the Electoral College, and perhaps Mercury's alignment in retrospect were all involved. Hillary claims to advocate for issues that are not supported by foundations with foreign donors.
Was he?
He's so like when I met
charming.
him, he is, and he's actually still kind of good looking. Like even for an older dude, yeah, why not? He's still so good looking, and she's just so miserable.
Well, she was publicly humiliated, and she thought that her big retribution would become president. You know, become president.
Sure.
And then that would be it. All water under the bridge. Strong woman. I'm running this country. And then America was like...
Vance dealt a devastating blow to her political legacy, destroying all of her years in the spotlight, all of her authority, and all of her influence. What is Hillary Clinton's most notable achievement? Not the part she performed, but the results she generated. The question hangs in the air like smoke from a fire after it has been asked. And the silence that follows is more startling than any answer. In Rogan and Vance's roast, Hillary Clinton wasn't the seasoned stateswoman she wanted to seem to be. She represented a political class that conflates tenacity with progress.
And here's the thing. If you're willing, my friends, if you are willing to throw a person in jail because you disagree with what they say, you're going to be willing to put a bullet in their head too. So the Democrats, I call on every leader in this country, not just tone down the rhetoric, but tone down the censorship. Let's have a dip with one another. That's what Americans do. Stop trying to silence people.
Prioritizes survival above service. In the Beltway, she is seen as a legacy figure, a heavyweight whose CV might be used as a global power map. Campaign pledges are recycled like leftovers from a lunch no one wanted. More bureaucracy, more self-praise, and a stronger feeling that voters should be appreciative that they are even in her audience. In real life, she represents a governmental public relations department. Despite all of the well-planned performances and the talk about inevitable results, the country ultimately underwent a drastic change in direction.
Best chance of beating Trump or whoever is on the right. They want her so bad. They're willing to exonerate her.
Right.
From so many different horrendous things. And one of the things I always point out, like, want to talk progressive, you want to talk, being wing, and she didn't even believe in marriage until 2013.
The best part was on NPR, which is this far right fringe organization, NPR, Terry Gross. And Terry Gross says, used to be against gay marriage. Your husband passed DOMA, which made it a federal law that won't be recognized by the federal government. And you changed your position. Like, what happened was it because Americans became, and Hillary's like, well, American point of view. She goes, no, I understand Americans changed their point of view. What was your mentis? And she goes, no, Terry, you're saying that I changed.
Vance portrayed it as the pinnacle of irony. The woman who had devoted her career to shaping the political narrative lost it in the most spectacular way possible. She used a range of mobile devices to send and receive emails.
Provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related.
Several thousand work-related emails, not among the group of 30,000 emails by Secretary Clinton.
When they rigged the DNC, they rigged primaries so that Bernie Sanders was going to lose.
I thought using one would be simpler.
She also used numerous mobile devices to send and to read email.
She had her people to the DNC way in advance. That Donna Brazile book about it.
She had before that. The issues still exist, even though the menus have been redesigned and the graphics have been updated. No matter how many times it's been patched, you still wonder why you're using it when there are faster, better, and more relevant alternatives.